work and turn your phone into an instant notification alert device. Beaver County Emergency Services, along with other partner organizations, is pleased to make instant notifications available to you, so sign up today.
It's time to wake up and get driving in the fast lane here on Beaver County Radio. It's the morning show that talks about what's happening in the news, locally, regionally, and nationally. There's also music to get you started for the day, and Curtis Walsh will have the news. It's all brought to you by Patriot Home Care. And now, here is the host of the show, Frank Sparks.
It is 8:36 in Beaver County, and our current temperature is sitting at 53 degrees. It's going to be a nice day out there today. Storms come through last night. It was a little nasty, that's for sure. So, but we're going to visit with Roman Kozak here till the top of the hour, and Roman is running for a state representative in the 14th district, as Jim Marshall has decided not to seek another term. So if you want to call that retirement or not, call it whatever you want. I don't know. I think personally, Jim is kind of, I don't want to call it checked out because he's still working and working hard, but he's got the old big grandpa beard going and looking good and everything. And so anyways, well, good morning, Roman. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning, Frank. Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
You know, I'm good. The Steelers game kept me up last night, and I mean late because of how late it went, and also I have three of my young children are all sick, so I was up probably 3 or 4 times last night. I'm running on about 3 or 4 hours of sleep, so we'll see how the brain works today.
I hear you. Well, speaking of your children, tell us a little bit about who is Roman Kozak, and tell us about your family as well.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for having me. Mm-hmm. It means a lot that you guys are doing this and hosting candidates here. So I'm Roman Kozak. I am a candidate for the 14th Legislative District, covering parts of northern and eastern Beaver County. And this district is a seat that's been held by Representative Jim Marshall for nearly 18 years now. And Jim Marshall is a good friend of mine. I'm honored and thrilled to have his full support and endorsement in this race. It means a lot to me considering how important he is to our community. So Representative Marshall is a staple, and we're all going to miss him. He's been a tremendous asset for Beaver County and our region. A little bit more about me, my background and who I am. I'm Roman, and my wife is Lauren. We live in Beaver Falls on College Hill. We have 4 amazing boys. We're both graduates of Geneva College, and my wife's a lifelong New Brighton Oak Hill resident. Of course, I have to drop that in there for you, Frank.
We kind of passed in this storm, I guess. I lived next door to her for about maybe a year. Yeah. Something like that. It wasn't real long. So I think she might have still been in high school at that point, showing my age.
Yeah, their family misses Oak Hill greatly, but we still get to go watch football games there, so that's great.
Nothing wrong with that.
Background for me and professionally, I started off my career in the transportation and trucking industry, helping heavy industrial clients move their product across the country. Flatbed trucking primarily, steel, concrete, brick, and even dairy manufacturing equipment. After some time doing that, I had some other doors open for me into the world of education. I've been a high school world history teacher and in a guidance type role for the past 10 years. That's been an amazing experience. My wife and I are also now small business owners as of this past year. That's been an experience as well. And it's amazing to watch my wife and the gifts that she has and how she's using those in that aspect. And so we're thankful for that. I've been a coach in the community, youth sports, basketball, soccer, baseball, all the above. And I also have had to work these past handful of years. I've had 2 jobs because I know how hard it is to make ends meet at times. Mm-hmm. And after my regular job, I've done the humble work of being a custodian at a local school as well afterwards. And tell you, I've cleaned a lot of toilets in those years.
I do the exact same thing before work every day. I clean a bank before I come to work.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
So I get you.
See, I think a lot of people understand that. And, there's a lot we need to fix in this country and in this Commonwealth. And so that's some background on me. And I'd love to talk more about the reasons I'm running, too.
Well, tell us. Why are you running for State House?
Yeah. So for me, I've knocked on this campaign. I've knocked on a little over 8,000 voters' doors. All right, I've spent hundreds of hours out on the pavement knocking doors. My wife will attest to that. Thank you, honey, for letting me do that. because you have to, in order to represent the voters, you have to know your voters. You have to understand what's most important to them. And when I'm at the doors, the one thing, besides the things that people are telling me, they always ask me, why are you doing this? What in the world would make you want to go out and knock doors every single day? Why do you want to do this in this political environment? What would put you up to that? And they kind of say that in a way that's like suspicious, but they also are like, they tell me that like, you're crazy. Why would you do this? And for me, it's about legacy. And when I mean legacy, there's a twofold answer to that. First, my family. So my four grandparents, all four of my grandparents who have all passed away are Nazi labor camp survivors from World War II. And they went through hell. My one grandmother also happened to experience what's called the Holodomor, which was in eastern Ukraine. It's when Stalin from communist Russia starved many of the farmers it was about food supply issues. And so my grandmother watched members of her family starve to death, and then she ended up getting put in a Nazi labor camp just a little bit later in life. She was the Iron Lady. She outlasted the rest of my grandparents, I think, for a reason there. But they, after World War II, after surviving that experience, made their way to the greatest country in the history of the world, the United States of America. And the reasons they came here were for the freedoms it offered and the opportunity it offered. And they didn't once ask for a handout. They didn't once ask for any special treatment. They just wanted opportunity. And they got that opportunity here. They all worked in various professions, particularly in the trades, carpentry, machining. My grandparents were both in mills in Pittsburgh, grandmothers in bakeries. So, that legacy aspect to me is they lived the American dream. They watched it unfold. They watched their children grow up and go to school and college, and even got to see my dad have an opportunity at professional baseball. And there's no place else in the world like that. And I'm looking at our country right now and the situation that we're in, an identity crisis in a lot of ways. People are fighting over what our country should be, and what it should stand for. So if I can play a small part in representing those values that make us great, the things that have made us great all those years, those traditional family values, the economic values, that's what I want to do. So that's the first part. The other part for legacy is what we have here in Western Pennsylvania in general. This country, this region built this country, Frank, and we have so much potential opportunity to revitalize and reindustrialize with the natural resources that we have, and with the workforce and the location that we are in, that we need to have leadership in Harrisburg that's going to fight for those things, that's going to stand up for those things, and that's going to take the values, the Beaver County values that we have there to Harrisburg, and that's what I want to do. So this is really about legacy in two different ways.
So what political experience do you have so far?
Well, political experience, there's a couple things. As of right now, I'm the chairman of the Republican Committee of Beaver County. And what that is really a committee that helps to advance the interests of the Republican Party, which are all the things that the Republican Party stands for. And that, in particular, getting good candidates elected to office. I was unanimously elected to that position last January. And I also have run campaigns in the past as well. And that's kind of how I had my hand in things generally, and the pulse of what was going on. And that's how a lot of the people involved politically, locally got to know me. And before all of that, though, there was a period of time prior to me getting into education where I spent a little over a year and a half in a state representative's office. State Representative Jim Christiana, who's a friend of mine, I worked in his office in Center Township. And that experience was something that really gave me an idea of what the legislative process looks like, and also what outreach to constituents looks like. I spent time working, doing research for him, policy advising, some basic things like that to help him. But in the office, my primary work was to deal with constituents. So I have that experience of
wave your hand.
Wave my hand.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
You're not moving.
That's
I guess.
right. I'm in the dark now.
Keep talking. I'll
Setting
move
the
it.
mood here. There you go. So I worked day to day with constituents. The basics of the person who would come in who would have a problem with their rent rebate form, needed a handicap placard, help with a hard to read license plate, needed help filling out a LIHEAP form, or any number of letters they would have received from the state that they were upset about or were confused about. I worked directly on those issues with constituents for over a year, and got to learn really the basic nitty gritty of what that means and how important constituent service is. And I saw how the office could be run properly, and I want to continue that as a legislator and have the staff there available for our constituents to do that.
Jim Marshall has, as you mentioned, 18 years he's been doing this, and was always available within the community and doing a lot of working with, whether it be Rob Matsey, who is on the opposite side of the aisle, Josh Kell, who's on the same side of the aisle. How, if you are elected, how can you continue that work?
Bipartisanship seems to be in this political environment a lost art. And one of the things I've noticed when I'm out door knocking, knocking on Republican and Democrat doors, independent doors, people who even registered in third parties. And I don't know if it's just the area we're in, Frank, but because we're so used to, when we're online and when we're reading any type of media or watching any type of media, the vitriol and sort of the almost hatred that comes out. And it's unfortunate. We do have positions we all need to be passionate about, and I am very passionate about positions I hold, but people are generally decent. Well, I've noticed that at the door. That's one of the major things I've learned. I've walked away. People are generally decent, even when they find out maybe some of the things I stand for, and they might disagree with me. There's always a cordial ending to that conversation. And I've maybe had one person chase me off their porch, one or two, but oftentimes they think I'm selling solar.
Yeah.
So they're sick and tired of that. But what I mean by that is, I think that at the core of that working together has to do with just how we treat one another, with respect. And I know, the representatives here in Beaver County have done a great job of that. Bipartisanship is necessary, but it's also necessary, too, to make sure that you, stand on principles and the things you believe in. And there are going to be times you disagree. And you're not just in it to be buddy-buddy with everybody. You're in it to get a job done for your constituents and for the things that you believe in. So, of course, I want to work with these guys. I know them very well. I know a lot of the representatives in the region very well from my time and work in that area of politics. So I'm ready to really, at the end of the day, get stuff done.
We're visiting this morning with Roman Kozak. He's on the Republican ticket running for the 14th District of the State House. Jim Marshall currently holds that seat and is, I guess you could call it retirement, but not seeking another term. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and we'll have more with Roman right after this.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care, 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
They say good things come in threes, and I can say it's true as far as reasons to visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union this month. This is Andy Dangle, Board Chairman. For starters, Freedom United celebrated International Credit Union Day on Thursday, October 17th. It's also around this time of year, 85 years ago, that Freedom United Federal Credit Union was organized by a group of Freedom Oil Company employees. No. Contrary to popular belief, I wasn't already on the board of directors back then. Finally, it's trick-or-treat month at Freedom United. Stop in anytime and get treated to some of the best loan rates around. The trick is deciding what to buy with your newfound cash. Loans are based on credit approval. See? Good things do come in threes at Freedom United Federal Credit Union. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. Since 1934, they've been committed to the physical and financial recovery of personal injury victims. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George, a law firm of AV-rated attorneys and super lawyers. Attorney Larry Kelly.
That we establish relationships with our clients, because I still believe that relationships still matter, that this isn't strictly business between me and the client, that there's a relationship that develops. And there's nothing more important, I think, in any attorney-client situation than the client believing that the attorney actually cares about them personally.
For your initial consultation, call the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Cali & George at 724-658-8535 or online at lgkg.com. Luxembourg, Garbett, Cali & George, keeping promises for over 80 years.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical, arrives at Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center in Midland, October 4th through the 13th. Sponsored by Clearview Federal Credit Union. This splendiferous adventure is perfect for audiences of all ages. For your golden tickets, visit LincolnParkArts.org.
Tune in to Teleforum with Eddie Crow, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on Beaver County Radio. Eddie has a unique outlook on things, and we'll be discussing the issues that are important to the people of Beaver County. Eddie will also have monthly guests along with other special guests. Curtis Walsh will have news at the top and bottom of the hour, so make sure you tune in to Teleforum with Eddie Crow, weekdays from 9 a.m. to noon, right here on 1230 WBVP, 1460 WMBA, 99.3 and 95.7 FM, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
Beaver County Radio proudly welcomes Fry Transportation to their family. You're listening to 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
Weekday mornings were meant to drive in the fast lane. It's Frank Sparks on Beaver County Radio.
It's 8:52, about 8 minutes till top of the hour. Teleform's coming along at 9:05 or 9:10, I guess. And Eddie just will not tell us what he's going to talk about today. I guess he's really going to keep it a secret. I'm not sure. So, but anyways, we're visiting with Roman Kozak. He is a Republican candidate on 14th District for state representative, and talking a little bit about his candidacy this morning. And so we picked up talking about where you've been in politics and where you're off to. So what are some of the things that you would like to do as a state representative if elected? What would be the stamp that you want to say, this was Roman Kozak did this?
Yeah. First off, it's constituent service is always at the top. I think we do have serious issues we need to address, and I'll mention those here in a moment, but constituent service is absolutely crucial. You are accessible to the public in a way that many other political figures are not, people who are elected to office, or you can be. Of course, there's going to be particular individuals that won't be accessible, but someone like Jim Marshall was extremely accessible. And that's I hear that everywhere, at every door I'm at, especially in places like Chippewa and West Mayfield and Beaver Falls. That, man, Jim was just there for us. Even if sometimes I didn't agree with him, like his office did that for us. So that I took that to heart, knowing that that's super important, and I want to continue that service. When it comes to some of the issues, for me, this campaign's about the bread and butter issues, the kitchen table issues. It's about reducing the cost of living for Pennsylvanians. It's about safer communities for us, and it's about growing the economy. And what I mean by reducing the cost of living is we all have felt the heavy weight of what inflation has done post-pandemic. Decisions made out of our control at the federal level that have caused economic disaster for our country. There's no other way to say it. It's depressing. The rate at which the American economy is growing versus how it has traditionally grown is not something that's good for our future. But what can we do as Pennsylvanians? What can we do as state representatives? Well, something that we can attack immediately, and we should be able to attack immediately, is reducing energy costs in this Commonwealth. And that has to do a lot with our oil and gas industry here in Pennsylvania. We have so much opportunity. We have enough natural gas beneath our feet here in Pennsylvania. We have more than Saudi Arabia has oil. So that's something to think about, right? And we have enough natural gas to power our country for decades, right beneath our feet, just here in Pennsylvania. That's not counting the other oil basins or the natural gas basins in other states. So, our governor right now, Governor Shapiro, unfortunately, he campaigned on getting out of RGGI, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. It's a cap and trade program for a few states in our region. That's really a major limitation on our industry. And he's refused to get out of it. We need to get out of that. We need to push for energy policies that are pro-American energy policies. Pennsylvania can be a leader in that for our entire country and for the entire world. We're importing gas in our country, natural gas that we could, Joe, hear in places like Massachusetts from Russia. It doesn't make any sense. Nationally there needs this. That's why this election is also very important. But locally in Pennsylvania, reducing energy costs, we can do that by opening up our energy industry even further. Safe communities. What I'm talking about there is supporting our police officers, supporting our emergency responders. I have gone around to a lot of the police departments and spoken with chiefs and their police, and they tell me it's hard to retain police. It's hard to recruit police. Their classes are smaller and smaller. They used to have an opening for a job, and applications would come in, and they'd have to be able to pick and sort through. Now, if they get an application, they pretty much have to hire that person because that's all they've got. A lot of that has to do with funding for our police. The number one purpose of government, in my opinion, besides guaranteeing our rights, protecting us, protecting our rights, is protecting us. And so we've got to support our police and first responders. And I'm blessed to have the endorsement of our local FOP. For our local police, our state police as well, have endorsed my campaign. So it's really important to me, and also for our fire departments to have the resources they need. And last, it's growing the economy here, unleashing manufacturing. We've got to get government out of the way. Our permitting process here, if you talk to manufacturers, is it's just a mess, and it takes years to get permits, which you can get right across the line in places like Ohio in months. So we have to have reform and regulatory oversight. We need to speed things up. If we want to be competitive with these states that are growing, and we want this region to prosper, where I want my kids to grow up and have success and opportunity, we've got to get those things fixed.
All right, we got about 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So why should the people of the 14th District elect Roman Kozak?
Because I have the public and private experience that helps me to understand the day-to-day issues that all of the constituents are facing. Like I said, I have worked in the private sector. I've worked in the public sector. My wife and I are small business owners now. I know what it's like to work multiple jobs to try to make ends meet. I have relationships in the political world that I think would be beneficial to me. But I'm about service in general. My life and my professional career outside of it as well have been about service to our community. I've served on the Beaver Falls Planning Commission, did that for 6 years. Again, served as a youth sports coach, served in school and active in my church. I think service is extremely important, but I also think stepping up and standing for the rights, the things that have made this country great, are so important. And I can guarantee you, in the back of my mind and everything that I do, I'm thinking about my kids. I'm thinking about, God willing, my grandkids. I'm thinking about my grandparents, the ones who risked everything after World War II, after they got out of those labor camps to get to the one place in the world that's the greatest place in the United States as well as Western Pennsylvania. So I'm going to fight for our people, the things that we believe in. I've got a passion for this, and I want to serve the people of the 14th District. And if you elect me as your state representative, I can promise you that I will do everything I can to help do the things that I told you I would do to help fight to reduce living costs, for safer communities, and to grow this economy in the role that I serve in the Pennsylvania State Legislature. And you can visit me on Facebook, Instagram. Just type Roman Kozak for state representative.
Throwing you a softball and you go. I mean, it's like, that was my next question. You're already answering it.
There you go. Kozak4pa.com. And check me out there. And God willing, I look forward to serving you guys out there in the 14th Legislative District.
Just most importantly, get out the vote. That's number one. So
get out the vote, absolutely.
Thanks for coming in today, Roman.
Thank you, Frank.
All right.
My brain worked today. I mean, I was worried on that 3 or 4 hours of sleep.
See, if you don't watch NFL football, then you don't got to stay up late. See, I'm nice and spry this morning. See,
Yes, that 103-degree fever that my son had at 4
that's
o'clock
not
in the
good.
morning was a
Yeah.
little rough. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. So we hope Phil's better. That's for sure.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. We will see you, and good luck on Election Day.
Thanks, Frank.
And I will see everybody bright and early tomorrow morning. Coming up next is Eddie Crow and Teleforum. I'm sure he'll be talking about what went on in Butler on Saturday. I think there was a rally. I'm not sure.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas,